Welcome everyone to our webinar for today. The title of our webinar is Emerging Cyber Threats in Africa. What Nigerian businesses must do today to be safe. And I know for us to really be in this webinar, we're interested to know how to preserve your businesses against cyber threats. You want to prevent hackers, for example, from harming your organization and your businesses. So my name is Shayton Subo, and I'll be your moderator for the duration of this webinar. Don't worry, it's 1 hour webinar, but it's really filled. We have experts that we've packed to talk on cybersecurity. So, like I said, it's just an hour, and there is Q&A, right? And of course, we understand that due to business, you might want to go off during the process of the webinar, so the recording will be shared so you don't miss anything. Okay, so I've mentioned my name. I'm actually an accountant. Sometimes I think I forget I'm an accountant because I'm quite into the tech space. And I'm also certified in SAP, some SAP HRP certification. I have like 4 of them. And I'm the head of here of implementation and support at Haltree, right? So I have experience in accounting, I have audit, financial management, even ERP implementation and support. So I'm really kind of there out there. So in this section, like I said, I'll be the moderator. And if you have the Q&A, sorry, so I got the notification that there's a slight change to the Q&A session. At the end of each speaker, end of each of their presentation, there'll be room for Q&A. So when one speaker finishes speaking, then we have a brief Q&A. All right, so let me quickly jump into this. Why are we having this webinar? Even if we don't have businesses, cybercrime is not something that is new to most of us. It's not as if it's something that is in the distant future. It's here, like it's here. Just before I go into, I've had personal experience with cybercrime. Now, not personally, but my clients, right? I remember one client speaking to me like 2 weeks ago, how their bank was able to detect just an hacker that actually hacked their email and sent a mail to the bank to make payments. And how did the bank notice that? Just your funds, like the funds that the organization uses. So cybercrime is not something that is in the distant past. Companies are losing billions yearly. They are losing billions, and not just Nigeria. This is not a Nigerian problem. It is the world problem, right? And SMEs and enterprises, we are equally vulnerable. They exploit local gaps. If they see that, oh, there's how I can easily do something and hack this person's software or this people's system, then they are there. So you really don't want to come out as vulnerable to hackers out there, right? You want to protect your interests, protect the interests of your organization. And that is why we had to do this webinar, right? Just so your business is protected. Okay, let me just give you a slight overview of Haltree. We are your trusted partner in SAP, in Microsoft, in Odoo, in Fortinet, right? We are everywhere. Let me just say, we have a team of developers, right? We build custom software. And what is our mission at Haltree? So enhance the business operation of private, public, and government corporations by developing and implementing premium and innovative software solutions to help our clients run better and truly become global competitors. So we want to build the Nigerian base and the African base as a whole, right? We want to be the one to help your organization. We want to be a brand that brands in Africa and Nigeria can look to when they want to implement their software or even build custom and innovative software solutions to run their business processes. All right, we have As speakers here, I said it. Me, I'm really interested to hear, even though I don't have an organization yet, but I really want to know. And this is not just an organization thing. It can also be for your own personal use, how to implement what you will learn today in your various organizations where you are employed, right? If you are employed elsewhere. So we have a speaker, we have Mr. Kolade Alonge. Mr. Kolade is the head of information security at Hazamassad. I believe I don't have to really tell us about Hazamassad. All of us know Hazamassad. It's a big insurance company. It's also multinational. And we have Mr. Idowu Matthew. Mr. Idowu, he's a cybersecurity expert and is also the head of product integration here at Outtrade. And we have Mr. Joshua Sunday, and he is the Fortinet associate. Okay, so our experts will share their insights, to share their knowledge with us today. The first person that we'll be introducing is Mr. Kolade, and is going to come up on board very, very soon. But before you come, let me just tell us a brief overview and show us who he is. So Mr. Kolade is a seasoned information security strategist. He's the head of information security at Hazamassad, like I said earlier, and he has decades of experience. You can see his certification, CISSP, CISM, CISA. He has that certification. He's there. This is his field, right? And this is where he operates. And where he works at Hazamassad, he oversees cybersecurity strategy, policy development, awareness training, implementation of security controls. It's really, really a privilege to have him with us here, because this is someone that heads security strategy implementation, right? That also help his organization implement security controls, and he's here with us to just show us how to also protect our organization, right, and protect our businesses and our interests. Okay, so without further ado, Mr. Kolade, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I think just right now my camera is having a little issue, but not to worry. I will try and move to another device so as not to take so much of our time. So we can see our face. You can see my face, right? Apologies for this delay. However, while that is ongoing, in order not to waste time, I will just go ahead and get started with the session. With my session, and thank you very much, R3 Consulting, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. All right, so I'll just get started immediately. While I'm trying to transfer to another device, there's a possibility that maybe there is a little glitch. So please just permit me. I'll share my screen shortly. All right. So we're looking at a very interesting topic before me today, which is cybersecurity and Nigerian business, the real picture. The truth is that business have translated over the years, right from the Stone Age. There have always been businesses. However, also as businesses have, evolved over the years, we also see that with the introduction of technology, it has actually helped the business to do better. To do better in several ways. Right now we have systems that can help us to reach more customers. We have systems that can help us to calculate profit easily. We have different kinds of systems that help us to transform our business from just a mom and pop system to an international business. Now we don't have to, we talk about something important, that the part that faces the customer is no longer that's your office you have. It is now the internet. You could have a business that is started in a garage, and then when you look at the website, you wonder that is this the same business I'm talking about? What I'm just trying to say, in essence, is that with the use of technology, the business has actually transformed. And that is why, you see, it's also important that as we talk about security, we also, talk about technology, we need to talk about the security of that particular technology as well, so that our business will continue to make the kind of profits that we are making today. Let me just start by explaining what cybersecurity means. Just what cybersecurity is: the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, attacks, and damage or theft. We have the definition just there. It's just to ensure that whatever you have, your valuable assets, all right, is protected from theft. You see, when we talk about cyber, that talks about cyberspace. And that's why we're introducing network, particularly in this instance. And once it's in a network, a combination of one or two systems, coming together, that tells you that it is now in the cyberspace, especially when we talk about it being on the internet. I once attended a conference some years ago, about 2008, which fascinated my interest. Someone said there are over 1,000 doors into a system that is connected to a network, and that really, really caught my interest. That was as far back as 2008. I just attended the conference at the time, and that was when I was just, getting started with my career in cybersecurity. And then all I knew then was just physical connections. You have the USB ports, you have a couple of other ports and all of that. Then we had the diskette, we have the CD-ROM. I know that some people will not do all of those parts now, all right? And all of a sudden, you are telling me that other than these ones you can see, there are other ones that you cannot see, and there are over 1,000 that you have on the system. And so I decided to, take a peek into that, and then that got my interest. And ever since, I have been in this path, and I have never looked back ever since then. All right. And then when we talk about cybersecurity, it's actually defending against threats like hackers, like malware, like data breaches, and other cyber risks across everything, from personal devices to large enterprise infrastructure, you see. So it's not just about, you're not just here just to learn about how to protect your organization. Some people say, oh, well, maybe I'm just working in a small organization. In fact, maybe we don't use anything. But the fact that you are connected here already puts you at risk. You know why I said so? Because you are connecting with a device. You are connecting to a device that is connected to the internet, either with your mobile phone or you're connected on your system, whichever way. Everybody is in this, and we are in it together. And therefore, security becomes something that is very important for every one of us. Let's just look at a couple of things in terms of when it comes to comparing traditional business model with the modern business model we have today. Mostly it is manual, what we're doing before now, the Stone Age, so to speak. It's like a face-to-face transaction. It's paper-based and all of that. But the modern business today, we do digitized operations, automation, cloud-based tools are being used. We have remote work that is in place. Ever since COVID-19, work life has changed, in fact, dramatically in Nigeria. Some people are trying to go back to the previous, to pre-COVID-19. Anyways, but I tell you sincerely, there is no way you can actually catch up with that. A whole lot of technology advancement has been put in place to ensure that even though you are working remotely, you can still be held accountable. And some people can, like they would say that they can do much better when they work remotely than when they work physically. What I'm just trying to say is that in this instance, because of the modern technologies that have been put in place, you discover that we can do more. We now use automations. We use the computer power to get our jobs done rather than the physical, intellectual abilities that was being used before. Also, word of mouth, physical arts, personal relationships, those are the things that were being used before. But today, digital marketing is there, social media as SEO, influencer marketing, and all of that is what we use today. Before, it was cash-based transactions, limited financial access, then, you have to carry the bulk of money to go and pay. You have to see it physically, you have to count it and do all of that. But today, you don't need to do that. Everybody's mobile phone is where your money is. You can have billions of naira or of dollars, as the case may be, and nobody would know you have all of that. So we have the mobile money. We have the POS everywhere. In fact, everyone is actually doing these things. As long as you have an ATM card, or even as long as you have an account, we are also in this together, because your account, at any point in time, somebody can take it off, can take what is inside. So that your grandma in the village who feels that cybersecurity is not important, let them know that as long as you have an account, as long as you transfer money to them one way or the other, we are also in this together. Online payments, cryptos, in some cases as well, you use cryptocurrencies to make payments. We have localized physical presence, open markets and shops and all of that. Today, it's e-commerce. We have lots of them out there. We have through the apps, mobile apps. You just go there. Instagram is one of the ways that people buy a lot of things. We have the Facebook. We have the proper e-commerce sites like the Jumia, the likes of Jumia, the likes of eBay, and all of that. You see a whole lot of difference. And you see the fact that we have modern business model today. We are reaching more customers. We are raking more money. We are doing much more with so little resources. Imagine if you had to make the same amount of sale that you make with the modern business using traditional business model. That means you have to employ everyone in Lagos, to get the job done for you. But it's really not like that today anymore because of the modern technology that is in place. A realistic overview of cybersecurity landscape in Nigeria: high rising volume of cyber attacks. That is the truth. You see, the truth is that the more people are coming into technology, the more we are having people with the bad intents coming in there as well. Nigerian organizations face thousands of attacks on a weekly basis. You see, that is the truth. You might say, where did you get it from? Where are the facts and figures? The truth is, many people don't come out to announce to you that they are being hacked. Many people don't come to you that they have cyber, they have cyber threats or anything like that. They won't tell you what has happened. But you see reports from time to time. This one is being scammed. That one is being scammed. Social engineering is everywhere today. Through the use of social media, you see a lot of places people display to be who they are not, and then they're able to, cut away with things that belong to other people. A whole lot of things are happening today. Frequent sectors are targeted. Financial and banking remains a prime target. Government institutions, telecommunications, and education are also major targets. I remember some years ago while I was doing my one of the courses, I was doing a hacking course some time ago, so several years ago now, over a decade now, and then some people, a set that did before me, they were able to hack into one of the airline ticketing organizations, and they were able to buy tickets for free, and they were able to travel with those tickets as well. You see, if it was happening then, I tell you that that sophistication has increased even as we have it today. We have things like advanced persistent threats, that continues to ensure that they look at those loopholes within your system, within your organization, and to, take advantage of them to be able to get into you. We have different types of threats and attack vectors. We talk about ransomware, which is growing in prominence everywhere. You see ransomware, the one that we had then was WannaCry some times ago. I remember a client of mine that reached out to me some time ago that they were working and all their files, I think they downloaded in a particular file, and then everything got encrypted. They were asking them to come and pay, and that happens in other organizations too. They won't come to tell you. Probably some people will even pay the ransom. And then the fact that you pay the ransom does not mean anyways that they won't still come and do what they do. It's only in this maybe part of the third countries that we still do this kidnapping as in physical. Ransomware attack is a form of kidnapping. However, it is not your physical things that are kidnapping. They are kidnapping your data. They are kidnapping your system. You can't move further. You can't do anything, and so you have to pay. You see, and sometimes those things are very much rewarding, of course, than the normal physical things that are being done. Phishing, business email compromise, credential theft, banking trojans, information stealers, they are common today. They are everywhere. You can just wake up tomorrow. People are just, coming up, churning out different kinds of things to compromise the systems, and it is continuous. You see, we have denial of service attacks also. It's also on the rising. You see, a recent, not too long ago, sometime last year, a particular organization had that particular situation that, in fact, they had the DOS, they have defacement of their websites and all of that. That is real. It is happening behind you. It's happening everywhere. You see, human error and outdated technology is still a major contributor to these vulnerabilities. Because today, you see people making, they just leave it. In Nigeria, we are so spiritual in a way that many times we shut off our brains, we shut it down. And that is a major challenge. You feel God will watch over you. When God has given you brains, to be able to, do what you need to do to get things right. You just leave it there. And then eventually when you get hacked, you now go and pray, God, why me? Why did this happen? No, it's because you didn't do the needful. If you have done the needful, you're using an outdated system, you're using an old technology, and you expect not to be hacked. That is not very good enough. For example, as we are speaking, Windows 10 by October 14th into 15th, support will end for Windows 10. And some people are still purchasing new laptops today, new systems, and they put Windows 10 on them. And then tomorrow, maybe at the end of the year, they now see a particular attack, and then their system got affected. They will now start wondering what happened. You see, sometimes information is also power. Some people do it to ignorance, some just do it due to carelessness. But whichever way, when you are attacked, they won't ask you the reasons before they attack you. They will just come and get you attacked. The skills gap is also another thing, and human factors. So there remains a shortage of cybersecurity professionals relative to demand. That is the truth. You see, everywhere. It's just that a lot of organizations don't know they need cybersecurity professionals actually. They feel that they can get things done on their own. Some people don't even pay them well, don't rate them highly. You see, it's only when they get attacked, that's when they will come to realization that, wow, we have actually been sleeping with fire on our roof, you see. And those are the things we need to see. We need to ensure that we appreciate this particular profession, and then we have them retained. We see a lot of people running out of the country, today, several professionals and all of that. Why are we having that? It's because they are not well appreciated. They are looking for places where they can be more appreciated. And so they want to actually go there and then be able to display their skills. This is like a summary of what we have when it comes to that. Common misconceptions. It's very important we look at this about cyber risks or cyber security. You see, let's start from here. Only the IT department should worry about security. A lot of people think like that. These are myths, that they are misconceptions. People just think, okay, it's IT business. In fact, some organizations put IT and security, they put them together. And then you see IT and security, they are fighting depending on who comes out to who wins the battle. It's not always like that. Cybersecurity is an organizational-wide responsibility. Everyone is responsible. Right from the management to every department, you are responsible. You see, because you see, a chain, like they say, is as strong as its weakest link. So you see, that person in one department, even the security guard, even the messenger, the T-girl, even anybody can be that sees probably a paper that you probably threw somewhere and takes it and goes and takes it away. From there, that paper could actually contain very vital information. A lot of things can happen one way or the other. Maybe at some point the person is careless, drops the key somewhere, and just goes and divulges information about the weakness of the organization to maybe someone, maybe his boyfriend, a boyfriend, or his girlfriend, or someone around, their friends. And before you know it, maybe that person has bad intentions and is killed as well. What would the person do? They will harm themselves, and they will come in and perform whatever they want to perform. That means that security is everyone's responsibility. It's not just for IT department. It's not just for security team members. Another misconception, hackers only go after big companies and governments. That's a very, very big lie. You see, no matter how small your organization is, as long as you are using computers, as long as you are connected to the internet, you are a target. I spoke of one of my clients that was hacked some time ago. They just have a very small business. Business is not so much. They're designing things and all of that. And they got hacked. So don't wait until your business is big. Every business, in fact, your mobile phone. Haven't you seen situations where people's money are taken away, even right under their nose, from their mobile phones, mobile devices? That's to tell you that irrespective of how small or how big it is, as long as money is involved, as long as your valuable information is there. So you see, the truth is that hackers can come for you. You can actually get hacked. That's another thing. The conception is that if I use a good password, I am fully secured. That is not true. No matter how secure, there are systems to the high-end machines that can crack your passwords. No matter how large, no matter how complex you want them to be, they can crack them. You see, so what should we do? We use two-factor authenticator, right? Authentication to ensure that you protect against your, against people going away with your credentials. You see, two-factor authentication, you can use some other means like a zero trust model and things like that to ensure that at every point in time, not just your password will be good enough for you to be able to enter into your system. Let them look for another factor. We talk about what you know, all right, and what you have and who you are. Those are the 3 levels of authentication. All right, please ensure that you put that in place at any point in time whenever you are setting up your systems. Another thing is, misconception is only big businesses can afford proper security. That is not true, because that security you don't want to pay for. Like they say, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. The same way, if you feel that security is expensive, try to be insecure. That is when you will understand what we are trying to say. So you see, don't say you can't afford it. There are several businesses today, there are several organizations that provide shared services that can even come into an environment and help you to review what you have and provide solutions to you. You don't necessarily have to have security people in place fully that can help you. You can contract it out, you can sublet it, you can bring in a professional to come and review what you have and provide solution. Maybe it comes in once in a while, so it will lower the cost on you. However, you are able to achieve it too. It's the same thing. There are also some other solutions that are low cost. You see, some basic things you need to put in place and all of that. Security is always a journey. It's not a destination. So irrespective of how much you have to put into security today as an organization, you are welcome. You have started. However, you don't stop there. You keep building on that. What are the other misconceptions? You see, no incidents we are secure. Because you feel there are no incidents, you are secure. That is also another lie. Because the truth is that sometimes when there are breaches, they will be there. Hackers, they will be within the organization for years without the other person knowing. They will just be there. They will sit there. They will be getting the information. They'll be doing all sorts of things. And so what should you do? You see, don't assume at any point in time that there is no incident. Assume breach at every point in time that you have been breached. That helps you to put you on your toes to ensure that you are not breached eventually. So that's basically on that. I need to run now because of my time. The threats that Nigerian businesses are most vulnerable to. We talk about phishing attack. I think that in fact that is everywhere. Phishing attack. They send you emails that are not right so that they can fish your what's it called now? They can fish your credentials, can take you to places where they put panic on you, they put some threats on you so that you can actually divulge information and all of that. Some things like that. Time will not permit us. Maybe in another episode of this we can talk more on phishing and types of phishing attacks and how to prevent against them. Social engineering attack. People try to assume who they are not. Some people who are males, they try to be females to so that they can actually get some people to come and talk to them, and then they take away their money and things like that. A lot of things happen, and there will not be time to talk about this. We talk about other things. Ransomware has been spoken about earlier. All right, we talk about insider threats. This is actually one of the key issues within, because you don't know who is who. Some people do things accidentally, yes, because they are not aware, they made a mistake, they were not conscious. That is one. But we have another part which is about maliciously people leak data. They share those data, they share those information. And on that ground, that one is actually that is real. So you need to ensure that both within and external threats that happen, you need to be exposed to them. You need to understand how to track them and how to stop them. You see, and then exploitation of unpatched systems and legacy systems. These are some of the things that also happen when your systems are not patched, when they are vulnerable, when you're using legacy software on your system. Some people, if you check their laptops, they are still using Microsoft Office 2007 on their systems. And tomorrow when they get hacked, they will tell you they don't know how that happened. You are the one that's causing it. Your phone will request for update patches. You will not update it. You will think it's going to eat your data. And a lot of things like that. You are the cause of those things. So what are we saying? We are saying that now you can see all of these areas through which stress comes, and you need to prevent against them at every point in time. Time will not permit me to talk about the real examples of what has happened over the years. Flutterwave had a security breach, in 2024, over 11 billion naira was taken away. You see, it was exposed to vulnerabilities in Nigeria's rapidly expanding fintech. You see, over 11 billion naira was actually lost as a result of that. 11 billion, not million. That's about $7 million. All right. Another one happened to Sterling Bank in late 2024. Just last year, you see, 1.2 billion. You see, was taken away. And you see, it exceeded 1.2 billion in terms of trying to estimate the amount of money that was lost. It led to arrest and all of that, but money that was lost was lost. They might not be able to recoup everything that was lost. And then their organization too, by the time this information goes out, what happens is that the reputational damage it brings to the organization is another thing. What are the immediate and practical steps business leaders should be considering now? Improve employee cyber awareness. This is one of the means by which we can do that. We can have people come into your organization to train you as well regarding this. Back up critical data and test restores at every point in time. In case of ransomware attack, if you have your backup and restore working effectively, you don't have anything to fear. Let them do ransomware. It will just take a few days. You'll be back in business, and everything will look like it's normal. Deploy basic endpoint protection solution. Basic ones, put them there at least. Engage with trusted security partners or consultants to fill skill gaps. Implement multi-factor authentication everywhere possible. Communicate clear policies about suspicious emails, reporting incidents, and data handling. Conduct tabletop exercise to practice response. Implement policies for data privacy, breach notification, and record keeping. Lastly, you can also take a cyber insurance. Having done all you need to do, take a cyber insurance so that when there is a breach, you can actually have an insurance organization to speak to that can help you, to weather the storm at that particular time. The same way you will take insurance for your business, insurance for your car, insurance for your house, insurance for your travel insurance, your health insurance. You can also take cyber insurance for your business, all right, which is very, very important. All right, I think that will be all from my end. as I conclude on this part, I don't know if there are questions and answers for me. Because of time, I apologize, I didn't really delve into some use cases that I intend to go into. But maybe some other time we'll have time to actually discuss that in details. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kalidi. That was very insightful, at least from my end. Okay, before, let me check if we have questions. But I personally, I have a question to ask. You mentioned that one of the steps is for organizations to engage with trusted partners and consultants, right? So I want to ask a question. How can business owners and executives, how can they balance investing in cybersecurity with other pressing business expenses, especially if they're SMEs? How do they balance that? They should not say, oh, it's not very important, it's just expensive. So where can we find the balance?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. This is where I will pick that from. You see, when you bring in a professional to come into your organization to assess what you have, you're all right. The first thing the professional is going to come is not just going to come. Let me carry out pen tests and do all of this. No, that's not how it is done. The first thing is having assessed what we have, your security controls. The next thing to do is to compare, number one, your risk appetite within the organization. It needs to also look at your business, your financial status, so to speak, now within the organization, so that they can plan for you on how you can implement security within the organization. So that means that it's going to be prioritized. What is most needful at this time? What are the things you need to bring in a consultant to help you analyze, to now go through the journey with you that, okay, this year we're going to do 1, 2, 3 things, and these 1, 2, 3 things, these are the ones that you do a risk assessment, can work with the risk department, you do a risk assessment, okay, we have like 10 risks are showing, which ones are most critical? We have 1, 2, 3. All right. By the time you look at those 1, 2, 3, these are the most critical, maybe the high risks now, or the critical risks now. Those are the ones that you will first of all attend to by implementing controls to mitigate against them. And then you take it further. The next year, you do the same thing. Yes, we know that the cost of security sometimes could be very expensive, but you prioritize and then you plan around it. You start building it over and over. And before you know it, in a few years, you're able to say you have a level of resilience against any form of breach.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kuradi. We have 2 questions here, but I'll be able to pick one because of our time. Okay. So I'll take one. Let me see. Okay, so I'll take from Marifat. She asked that what are the common mistakes you see organizations in Nigeria make when it comes to cybersecurity?
Okay, common mistakes that Nigerian businesses makes when it comes to cybersecurity. Yeah, I think I mentioned that during my presentation. They assume that what's it called? Security is handled by the IT team. It doesn't have anything to do with them. All right. And sometimes they feel that security is not important. All right. They just push security to the corner. And because they have pushed security to the corner, it is only when they get hacked that then everybody starts shouting and all of that. Sometimes they say they are spending too much. It's not bringing in money. There are teams that don't bring in money, so they don't invest in those teams, all right, because they don't have return on investment. Of course, when we will talk about that, it's actually in 2 ways, because as a security professional, you must be able to do a kind of return on security investment to show to the organization that, okay, on this that you have invested in, this is actually the return that in terms of the what we have been able to save you from, some of those things like that. There are several mistakes they make, but one of them is assumption that security is not important or is technology's responsibility. Security is the tone at the top is actually very important when it comes to cybersecurity. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kalaidi. So before we release you, let me just ask the second question quickly. Looking ahead, what major cyber trends should Nigerian businesses prepare for in the next 2 to 3 years? So what are the threats you think Nigerian organizations should prepare themselves for?
Well, if you ask me, All forms, all forms. All forms. In fact, there are new forms of threats that will keep coming. When it comes to the issue about using stale applications, legacy applications, or stale systems, in fact, that one is very common. We don't want to spend money to change our systems or to upgrade our systems to newer versions. So those places are where vulnerabilities exist. There are places through which they will come in. And then the threats will come in different places. That's the sincere truth. I can't say particularly it's going to come from here or come from there, but particularly what we have seen in trends is actually through the phishing attacks. That is one of the places where you would really, really see this coming in the next few years, because from time to time they are improving in how they are weaponizing some of these things. They make it look so real, and that is why continuous security awareness training is actually required and all that. And then you look at how this one is actually local to Nigeria. Look at what is happening within Nigeria today when it comes to the economy of the nation, and that's really affecting people. And as a result of that, people will be pushed, particularly when it comes to insider threats. That means as an organizational owner, you also consider, the remuneration of your staff such that they will not be pressured to now, carry out activities that will eventually compromise your organization. So some of those things like that, things I think you should watch out for. And there are many more anyways. This is just to mention a few.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kolade. I think one of the major takeaway for me is that business owners should not wait for their businesses to be big or to become large before they invest in cybersecurity. So thank you so much. I'm going to invite our next speaker, so we can release you for now. Thank you so much, Mr. Kalari. Okay, so our next speaker is Mr. Joshua. And Joshua, he is a developer at How3 Consulting. He's also a Fortinet expert. So he'll be taking us through another session. And just to give brief background, he has a degree in computer science from Unibain, and he's also hands-on. He has experience in JavaScript, in web development. So Joshua, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Joshua Sunday, and today I'll be sharing how Fortinet, a global cybersecurity leader, is helping businesses here in Nigeria and across Africa defend themselves against fast-growing cyber threats. So let's go through the slide. So I'll go to the next slide right now, and let's see. So what is Fortinet? So Fortinet is one of the largest cybersecurity providers in the world. Fortinet protects over 500,000 organizations worldwide, including banks, telcos, retailers, and governments. So Fortinet's mission basically is to secure people, devices, and data everywhere without slowing down businesses. And importantly, Fortinet is present here in Africa and Nigeria, with also How3 Consulting being one of their partners here. So you say why cybersecurity matters now. Number one reason why cybersecurity matters right now is one of the causes, like ransomware, is arising. So when we talk about ransomware, I think Mr. Kolayo shed a little light on it when he was speaking. He said ransomware is basically when attackers lock your system, they lock you out of your system and request. Most times they request money, but some other times they actually request some other things. But basically they actually request money until you pay some money, and it's not like if you pay, they are going to like open your system, but that's basically what they ask for. They ask for your money before they could like open your system for you. So, and after that, we also talk about phishing. So phishing entails like phishing is a very broad concept, but the one I'll be talking about is just phishing, sending emails within the organization. When people hack into your system, they enter and they trick staff into sending passwords and also click malicious links that will make the system prone to threats for the organization. And also not forgetting insider threats. Sometimes by mistake, even sometimes deliberately, some employers might want to put the organization at risk. So Fortinet today will help us solve all of that. So we're talking about now the Fortinet advantage. So I will run through this because I think time is fast spent, because I think this meeting was supposed to be 4 to 5. So let's talk about Fortinet's next generation firewall. So when we talk about firewall is basically a system that controls the incoming and outgoing traffic within a system. So when we talk about firewall, we have different types of firewall, from stateless firewall to proxy firewalls and next generation firewall. But with Fortinet's next generation firewall, which is the best thing in town right now, next generation firewall, we talk about using machine learning to actually safeguard your systems. So to look at the components of next generation firewall, that's what it does: intrusion prevention, web filtering, malware protection, and sandboxing. And it's also scalable for small and medium enterprises. Unlike a traditional firewall, Fortinet's next generation firewall blocks and allows traffic. But also what it does is like it inspects the traffic deeply. It does deep SSL inspection and tests threats and traffic in real time, because it's embedded with the machine learning models. So let's break down the core features one by one of next generation firewall. So the first one we'll go through is intrusion prevention system. So when we talk about intrusion prevention system, let's see like a vigilante guard that's guarding a gate. So the vigilante won't just check the ID cards, but it's also like check suspicious behaviors. Like if a person comes into an organization now, the gateman at the gate will actually check for the ID card. Well, that's not enough. You actually, because people that come in might also have malicious intent. So that's what Fortinet's next generation firewall will do. So Fortinet's intrusion prevention system blocks known attacks like SQL injection and buffer overflows and the rest. But one of the major advantage of it is that it prevents businesses from zero-day exploits. So when I say zero-day exploits, I mean new threats that have not been found, that have not been done before. Attackers find a way to like penetrate through system. So even threats that have not been found before, next generation firewall with Fortinet actually safeguards your system and uses machine learning models to like prevent your system. Even though you've not seen those previous threats before, the machine learning model that is embedded with next generation firewall, it helps protect your system. So this also means that even Nigerian banks, fintechs, and even small and medium scale enterprises can defend against this latest global threats, not even like last year's one, but recent threats that I imagine through the machine learning model, you can be able to like block through the new attacks by these attackers. So let's go to the next one. The next one is web filtering. So web filtering. So one careless click on your organization's system can compromise the whole network. So what Fortinet normally does is to automatically block access to malicious sites for you. So when we talk about web filtering, we have URL filtering, which is like matching the site an employee wants to go to with FortiGate, with Fortinet's next generation firewall. So when it matches that, when it sees that it's a malicious site, Fortinet blocks it for you. Well, I think the one that supersedes the URL filtering is what we call the category filtering. So how Fortinet's next generation firewall does that is that it has a database which is called a FortiGuard. So what it does is that it uses machine learning model to like categorize each site according. So let's say for your company or your organization, you want to block sites that access gambling, like gambling sites. You can just through Fortinet's next generation firewall, you can block access to gambling sites. So using machine learning model, it blocks anything that has to do with gambling. Is it from different sports betting sites, from even from Nigeria, Africa, and all over the world, anything gambling, or maybe you want to block some X-rated sites from schools. And because Fortinet is not only for like business operations, you can use Fortinet's next generation firewalls for schools, offices, and other places. So you want to block 18 rated content for others. So using category filtering on Fortinet's next generation firewall, you can be able to secure your system against all that. So another feature of the Fortinet's next generation firewall is malware protection and sandboxing. So traditional antivirus only stops malware, it already knows. But like I said before, attackers create new ransomware every day designed to bypass old defenses. So what Fortinet's next generation firewall does is that it uses the machine model to learn about those sites and also like block the incoming new threats that it finds bad or not good for your organization. So let's go into sandboxing. So when we talk about sandboxing, sandboxing is like when your Fortinet system or your next generation firewall detects a malicious link. What it does is that it opens it on another environment. It goes there. When it checks that it's not malicious or does not have harmful intentions to your organization, it then allows it into your organization. But when it finds it's malicious, it does not allow it into your system. So that's what Fortinet's next generation firewall does with sandboxing. So I'll run through this. So Fortinet is scalable for all businesses. So it doesn't matter the size of your company, even though you are 10 or you are 10,000. So Fortinet is actually very scalable because it does not matter if you start. You can start small, even though you started using Fortinet when you have only 10 employers. Even as your company grows, Fortinet grows with you. So that's what Fortinet actually does. So I'll give you a real world scenario or rush through it. A real world scenario of an African bank recently that got a security breach, and after which they utilized Fortinet next generation firewall. And as you can see on the screen, it gave better outcomes. They got stronger protection, easier compliance, centralized visibility, reduced admin costs, and approximately like 50% one and MPLS cost saving. So how they saved 50% wide area network was that they used the SD-WAN provided by 40 gates, because SD-WAN is like a software driven wide area network. So it makes decision and gives you the best routes to direct your traffic to, instead of the traditional ways the wide area network can do it for himself. So what we should take from this is that every business is a target, and Fortinet's next generation firewall is a survivor tool. And if you would like to use Fortinet or would like to get a demo and free consultation and consultation at RO2 Consulting, we are also here for you. So thank you. So any question?
Yes, thank you so much, Joshua. We have some question in the Q&A. Okay, I think just one question. How does Fortinet differ from other firewall security solutions in the markets like Sophos? We know Sophos is another security solution. So how does Fortinet differ from the rest that we have out there?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, number one is the Fortinet flexible deployment, because for Fortinet, you have the on-prem, you can install it or have it on premises, you can have it on cloud, and you can have it hybrid. So basically, that's one of the advantages over Sophos. Then also, we can also talk about the performance, because we use custom hardware for faster and more efficient inspections, and also the full coverage. When you talk about Fortinet, I think it's a whole. I think I didn't talk about different products. I only talked about Fortinet firewall. We also have Forti EDR for endpoint detection and response. We have Forti SIEM. We have FortiGuard. We have Forti clients. We have Forti web. So it's an all-in-one package. So using Sophos and other ones, I don't think they have this full-fledged framework for detecting and solving cybersecurity challenges. So have I answered the question?
Yes. Thank you so much, Joshua. All right. So thank you very much for that insightful session on Fortinet. Because of that time, we'll just quickly run to the last speaker that we have here. All right. So because of that time, we have a final speaker here. His name is Matthew Idowu, and he is the lead for infrastructure, is the head of IT here in How3 Consulting. And Mr. Idowu Matthew is an SAP ERP expert also. He's a software developer and a digital business transformation strategist. So he has expertise in different SAP solutions, S4HANA, both public and private cloud, B1, even the SAP by design with different languages, .NET, and modern web framework, right? And he's certified in Cisco, in Fortinet, in Microsoft, like I mentioned, in SAP also. So we'll be taking us through the final session we have, and that is building secure infrastructure, the best practices for building secure infrastructure. Okay, so without further ado, Mr. Idowu, are you there? All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for that introduction. And I really appreciate the consent and the contribution of the other colleagues, Coyote and Joshua. All right. Today I'll be speaking on building secure infrastructure, the best practice for businesses. All right. Without taking much of your time, I'd like to share my screen right away. Okay. All right. So today we'll be discussing on building secure infrastructure and the best practice for businesses in Nigeria. All right. So from compliance, regulatory to legacy system to resource contraction and complexity and interconnection system, businesses face a lot of challenges when it comes to making decision on the kind of infrastructure they want to put in place when maybe setting up their organization's department infrastructure. Now, in terms of IT, we all know that IT is actually the backbone of every organization, and choosing the right infrastructure for your business operation when it comes to IT is very important. In fact, it plays a key role in deciding how you run your business. From deciding what kind of server you want to implement, you want to deploy, to the kind of this kind of system that you want to assign to your employees, to deciding the modern detailed infrastructure that the businesses require. From all this, security is one of the major player in the decision making of every organization. And today we will be talking about how this impacts businesses in every industry. All right. So what does network infrastructure look like? So a business infrastructure is the combination of interconnected hardware, software that enable communication and data transfer within an organization and with the outside world. Now, in today's world of today's business world, infrastructure like network infrastructure are key important aspect of every business, because this is how organizations interact both socially and locally within the organization. And when I mean social, I'm talking about the global space. You want to send an email to your clients, you want to interact with your clients, maybe virtually or physically or via email. All this has to go through the network, and there are infrastructures that come up with these transactions. Transmission of data between one point to another point. When we are talking about infrastructure, we are talking about infrastructures like routers, which can be access point. It can be Wi-Fi router. It can be IP phones for IP phone calls within the organization, or through interconnected phone calls, maybe outside the office environment. Then we are talking about the server, the kind of server you're working with, from the next generation server to to legacy servers. And we're also talking about your PCs, like your laptops, your desktops. We're talking about your scanners, your printers. All these are hardware devices that are connected within your organization's network. And the only way to make sure that all these devices are protected is through deciding the kind of security compliance that you bring in place when it comes to your organization's deployment. Now, which brings us to the next side of the webinar, which is network security. Now, network security is a combination of hardware, software, policies and procedures designed to protect computer networks, and not just computer networks alone. We're talking about network resources. They can be network resources in terms of your computer hardwares, your printers, your softwares, your application softwares, your server, your operating systems. All these are very important when we are talking about network security, because the information that are passing through the network are actually packets. In terms of network engineers, we call them packets, because packets are actually information that are running from one network point to another network point. And these informations are very important when it comes to sending this critical information. We need to understand the value of protecting these packets from one point to another point. Now, computer networks and data that they transmit, from unauthorized access to damage or misuse of this information. So some of these informations are being misused by maybe some employees within the organization. When you misuse some of this data, it's gives you a very big downtime, and this affects the business flow in a very critical way. These informations are actually what led to some of the major risks in the organization, which brings us to another aspect of this webinar, which is why most Nigerian businesses are at risk. Now, many Nigerian businesses fail to understand the risk they pose, especially many organizations who have staffs who are not enlightened about how they are supposed to be making use of the network security. Understand how network security works. Now, you see some employees who just have access to maybe Wi-Fi in an organization. They use the Wi-Fi on their phone, or they have their own laptop devices, maybe the laptop devices that are not assigned to the organization. And normally, the way a network should be designed, you should have a guest connection and the organization connection, where each organization's department are being separated from one another when it comes to in terms of maybe VLAN configuration. The VLAN configuration helps you separate or segregate the kind of connection that is attributed to each department in the network. Now, when we are talking about major businesses being at risk, we are talking about billions of data that are crossing through the network resources. Now, each of these data poses a threat for one reason or the other, probably due to an employee, installing an unpatched software. Now, when we are talking about unpatched software, we are talking about softwares that poses a lot of threats to your organization's network. Now, when these applications are installed on either their phone or their laptop, it poses a lot of threat, and because of this, the business also falls at risk, because from connecting from an hacker can easily have access to some of these patch softwares through their network, and from there they can hack into the server, the local server, and maybe get into the main application that the organization uses to maybe perform some transactions, some important transactions. And because of this, millions of money or resources are being lost due to this negligence. Now, some other high risk of these organizations getting is infrastructure vulnerability, weak IT systems in terms of the negligence of an IT personnel to perform critical server updates, or even software patches or updates at the right time, or even not ignoring the fact that there are some need for maybe an antivirus or a malware detector to be installed on each and every computer PCs or resources. And this poses a lot of threats to many organizations. So when we are talking about the kind of sectors or organizations that falls within the risk of what we're talking about all organizations, all sectors of the Nigerian market. Every sector, both medium, small scale or large scale businesses are at risk. It doesn't care if it's an healthcare organization or every organization, for as long as you have network resources or you are into an IT, you run your IT operations within the organization, you pose a lot of threats to the organization once you are not following what needs to be done. Now, security gaps by hackers, how they are being exploited. Poor secured server. Now, many organizations, they have their servers deployed privately, and this organization, the first line of defense is the physical threat. I always ensure that many organizations that we've deployed for, they always take it serious to make sure that their server rooms are being protected. First, if you have a server room that is secured, the first line of defense is an hacker or an employee who happens to be maybe one of the organization can be a threat. So if you just grant access to any of the employees, any of your employee to have access to your server room, it poses a lot of threat because you don't know the kind of maybe a connector like a flash drive or an hardware that they can use to connect to your server. And this can pose a lot of threat to the server. So poorly secured server starts with the physical presence of any individual that is accessing the server, that had access to the server environment. Now, it doesn't even seclude the fact that your cloud platform cannot be exposed to some of this threat. So either your cloud platform or on-premise system can be hacked due to lack of proper admin and encryption protocol. Now, I've mentioned unpatched software like legacy applications that are delayed updates. Now, Mr. Kaidu was talking about the fact that some updates, some systems are still running on Windows 10. I've seen some systems that are still running way back as Windows XP or Windows 7. And this also poses a lot of threat because the reason why Windows or Microsoft are actually updating their operating system and many of these products is because of the security that some of these softwares poses. Because when they discover that some of the software have gotten to a stage where they need to be updated, they not only decide to upgrade them, but they decide to maybe give proper room for security so that when you are using the software, you are using it with confidence. You are not being scared of what is next, what is going to happen next. Like, for example, many organizations still stick to Excel, Microsoft Excel. And Microsoft Excel is a tool that many organizations use for their financial operations. And imagine if Microsoft doesn't update Microsoft Excel on a daily basis, you can understand the threat it poses to many organizations who at some point are still running on legacy. They are still running without maybe an ERP system. So imagine their application is being hacked and maybe their Excel is being hacked and they just have access to all these resources. So it's very important that you understand the importance of unpatched software, that you need to always make sure that you update your software. Now, weak access control. Now, excessive user privileges and poor identity management increases breach risk. Now, there are so many operating system, access control. Now, the reason why you have to make sure that you manage your identity protection is this, because users or hackers, they don't just come or inform you they are going to hack your system today. You just see it happen. And the way to manage that aspect is to make sure that you grant your users the privileges, the access to manage that identity. Now, also very important is the insider threat. So it is important that you know the environment that you are working with. You understand your employee. As an IT person, you need to understand that many of your employees will misuse their accessing. They will misuse their credentials. Some might go to a length by saying, "Oh, they've misplaced their username and password." How come? Some will say, "Okay, they've forgotten their username and password." Many of these are due to negligence of an employee, but if you create an awareness for many of these employees to make sure that, yes, if you are using a password, you need to be sure that certain credentials are being met. When you just make sure that you create a profile that every employee needs to follow when you are creating a user access account. And with this, it goes along with many employees are the first line of attack when it comes to securing your organization infrastructure, because when an hacker is going to hack, they will not go straight to the server. They will first of all see if they can penetrate your employees. When they can have access to your employee, they can penetrate their user account. Then equally, they can easily, have access to any other resources, because the access you grant to your employee is actually what will lead to how an hacker is going to have access to your server as well. All right, so the core security foundation that you need to lay when you are deciding about the infrastructure you need to put in place when building your infrastructure for your organization. So the first is the server admin. So for you to be able to set up your server, you need to make sure that you disable all the default configurations. These default configurations are actually manufacturer configurations. They, as a manufacturer, will set this up so that you can have an easy access. And be sure that if you don't change all these configuration, it's possible that an hacker can use this information as a leverage to have access to your server. And that does only go to the server alone. It also cut across to other devices. When you are setting up a device, either a PC or desktop, you need to make sure that you admin the security protocol, the privileges, the user account and operations that comes with the device, in terms of maybe the network device, the security switches, hardware switches, routers, and so on and so forth. And you need to make sure when you are enforcing the password, you need to make sure you use or enforce an encryption key that is very, very strict. And also make sure you implement a secure baseline. The connections, login, and user alerts, because these are very important to how you trace or you debug any threat that comes to your network infrastructure. Now, one of the major aspects of threat detection capability is logging. 24 hours logging or email logging will help you to see through an issue when they arise, and how you tackle them determines the way your network is being structured. Also very important is security gaps that are exploited by hackers. So hackers take advantage of poorly secure server, like cloud platform and on-premise systems that lack proper admin and encryption protocol. Now, unpatched software, very important. Some systems are still running on legacy software or legacy software application. These applications are very, very important to be updated, because some security updates are being done regularly by software vendors or software manufacturers. And if you as a user or the consumer of that software is not regularly updating their software, it poses a lot of threats, not to only you, but to your organization, to the organization you represent as a whole. So it is very important that you understand the threats that you pose as a user of a software that is not updated or up to date. Then weak access control also poses a lot of challenge. If users like user A uses a very strict user account, and hackers are not able to penetrate his information, his or her information. The next user, which is user B, if the user B is using a very low or risk-free access control, then that user can pose a lot of threats to a user who is, who has all the privileges, because network connections, they pass through packet, and you can easily hack a device or a server using just penetrate a user whose access control is very low. Then another very important threat detector is insider threat. Like we said, employee misusing access credentials to pose significant internal risk is very, very important. So we need to consider this aspect to be able to, secure our network infrastructure and everything that we represent. All right. All right. So how cybersecurity help businesses? Now, the first we need to understand is the next generation firewall. My colleague Joshua made mention of the next generation, the Fortinet firewall. So Fortinet firewall gives you the ability to, control your network operation. It gives you the flexibility to manage your endpoint security, which is a comprehensive protection for laptop, mobile devices, Internet of Things, and for every other, applications that you use in your system, in your organization as a whole, like from email filtering, email protection, even web filtering, web protection. In fact, we also have what we call IPS, intrusion prevention system, which the system uses to sophisticatedly for operation and your cloud security. Now, very important is the endpoint security. So the endpoint security is a comprehensive protection for laptops, mobile devices, and Internet of Things, which is any of your devices that is able to connect to the network resources. Now, we have network segmentation. Now, very important, there's what we call VPN, Virtual Private Network. Virtual Private Network is a very important aspect of Fortinet because it helps many organizations from different areas or from different countries, different locations to interconnect into an organization resources. And this organization, because of the fact that they are located in different areas, they can connect virtually and have access to their resources. And Fortinet has this capability to even manage and protect all these resources effectively, using the network segmentation, which contains breaches and limit lateral movement across business nodes. Now, we have also unified visibility, which centralizes control and monitor across all your business infrastructure. So the unified visibility is very important to unify all your IT infrastructures. Because of our time, I'm just going to quickly wrap up and hand over back to my colleague. Now, beyond technology, building resilience is very important. The first that we always recommend organizations to do is to make sure that they have an appropriate backup. Because either you like it or not, you should always have a reference. Now, backup is more like a reference to every of your data. So we recommend that you first take the first step by backing up your record, your data, your resources, any kind of resources that you work with that is important to you. Make sure you have a backup of them. You can never say what will happen in the next few minutes. So have a backup plan for all your data regularly. Now, employee awareness. Always create awareness for your employee, like phishing simulation, cybersecurity training programs, email alerts, and every other way to make your employees to be aware of many of these cyber threats that is in town. Compliance standard. It is very important that you follow the NDPR and ISO 27001, which are international security recommendation frameworks that is involved that the international security standard are introducing to the world. So you need to always follow those standards. Then incident response. Always make sure you document a playbook for your employees for rapid breach detection and recovery. All right. There are 6 steps to start today. First is to audit your infrastructure gap. Comprehensive security assessment of current systems and vulnerability is very important. You need to make sure that all your software are up to date by making sure that immediate operating system and applications are up to date and your security tools as well. Deploy next generation firewall and endpoint protection. install next generation firewalls like Fortinet that helps you to manage all your infrastructure effectively accordingly, and make sure you have an endpoint solution that can also help all your devices across board. You need to also train your staff by making sure that they understand the cyber hygiene, regularly making them aware of phishing and cyber security best practice education is very key. And also, like I said, backup critical data weekly or almost every day is recommended. You can automate these backup schedules with tested recovery procedures, which are very important. Now, very important is to also partner with security experts, which we are also in connection with. We have services that you can, partner with, that can help you to monitor your ongoing threat intelligence and incident response capability. All right, you don't need to wait for a breach to happen before you can consult us for a free service. So for cybersecurity consultation, you can reach out to Actual Consulting. We are experts at this area. We can give you an assessment or holistic overview of how your current network infrastructure works, and we can even give you a guidelines on what to do and how to go about security and even securing the organization even more. The cost of inaction. Now, there is a penalty for every inaction. Now, 95% successful cyber attack result from preventable security gap. So, for you to be able to prevent yourself, you need to understand the risk cyber attacks poses to your business. Now, small businesses close within 6 months because of this major risk. Imagine your organization, bank or bank account just got hacked all of a sudden, and that is the end. Then also, days of average to detect a security breach in Nigeria is just 0. So every day without proper security increases your vulnerability. So you need to act now before the criminals target your business infrastructure. All right, secure your business today. We ensure that we give you the best. You can consult Actual Consulting for a free cybersecurity assessment of your organization. You can also request a demo for Fortinet. You can just get started by contacting us. Our colleague will share our contact business information to you, and you can move on from there. All right. Thank you very much for joining today. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for Mr. Ido for the wonderful session. And the questions that we have are actually questions that's been answered. I can even answer like the second one, the first 3 steps a company should take. I noted some things Mr. Ido wrote down, that the company should audit its infrastructure gap, update software, install next generation firewalls, to train staff, to back up critical data, and
Very
also
important.
to partner with security experts, right?
Very
So
important,
I
yeah.
believe I've answered the other question. And then
sure.
the first one, why SME thinks cybersecurity is for big companies. I know Mr. Kolade also touched a bit on that. But Mr. Ido, just in 30 seconds, do you have anything you want to say to that? Just 30 seconds. Like,
So,
why SME thinks cybersecurity is only for big companies? Just 30 seconds.
So, Mr. Kolade did justice to that question when you asked him. Security is not just for big organization or big enterprise. Security is for everybody. For as long as you are connecting to the internet, which is the global space, security is for you. And trust me when I say security is for you, I've experienced a lot of people who complain about their private account being jinxed or being hacked just due to some negligence of what they did. And imagine you being at an airport, or you think you just have access to a free Wi-Fi or an open Wi-Fi, and you just connect just to tap into the resources, and all of a sudden you just discover that your account is being, hacked. How will you feel about it? So these are some of the areas we need to look into. So security is not just for small organizations. Security starts with an individual who is connecting to the internet, who has a phone, or who is connecting from his or her laptop. Security is for you. Then let's move it down to the business area, where organizations are even targeting, businesses. So businesses who are vulnerable to, cyber attacks are easily attacked. So security is not just for small businesses, it's for everyone, from an individual to big organization, to small organization, to SMEs or a startup. You need to consider the aspect of cybersecurity. You need to secure your organization. Every small information that you have, both in your phone or in your laptop or in your organization, your small server in that server room is prone to attack. So you need to be cognizant of this security information, this security threat. So you need to secure your organization, which is the first step to building your organization as a whole. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
So
thank you so much, Mr. Ido.
thank you
Okay,
for having me.
we have a
Do you have any
question in
further
the
question?
chat from Dr. Austin. He
Okay.
said, you spoke about backup. As an expert, what frequency of backup would you recommend?
As an expert, I would recommend that you do your backup daily. It is very important you consider backing up daily. I've seen an organization that loses their information, a very critical information, due to the negligence of the IT person backing up, just because he felt, he can always take the backup the next day. So the server was hacked by ransomware. I believe everybody knows the ransomware. What ransomware did? They just lock out your information, and the hacker will request that you pay some amount of money before they can release, which is not even possible. Now, if you don't back up and you are being hacked, imagine you didn't take your backup this evening or today as we speak, and tomorrow something happened overnight to your data. Those data, for me, they are gone. There is nothing you can do. So the easiest way to restore from where you are being hacked from is the last backup you take. So imagine you take a backup last week and you are being hacked today. So how do you restore a week information? So always make sure that you have a plan to back up your data regularly. In fact, almost every day. We recommend that you do that every day, because security is something that you cannot joke with. It can happen anytime. It's like a tsunami. It doesn't knock at your door to give you an indication of when it's going to happen. It just happens. And when it happens, you should be ready for it. You should be prepared to, fight back. And one of the way you can fight back is by, ensuring you take everything serious. You don't just joke with it, because joking with it means joking with your business, and that is the easiest way I can recommend that you do. So you just make sure that you have that plan to regularly back up your data. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, I believe it does. Thank you so much, Mr. Ido. And that has come to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for joining. And
Thank
we
you for
have some
having me,
key
Keito.
takeaways. Cyber threats are rising in Nigeria. Hacker exploits weak infrastructure and policy. Fortinet and best practices can protect businesses. And most importantly, your business is not too small. Act today, not tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining. We know we took more time than expected. Thank you for sticking with us through to the end. And special appreciation also to our speakers. Mr. Kolade, thank you so much. Mr. Joshua, thank you. Mr. Ido, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And don't forget, we are Heartrate Consulting, and you can use the scanner to scan and book your free consultation and demo. Thank you so much.